Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Science Foundation, it is with great pleasure and honor that I welcome you all to the National NSF Award ceremony. We are delighted to have a distinguished gathering of scientists, the policymakers, institutional leaders, members of a broad community here. Today we come together to celebrate excellence of innovation and the commitment to advancing science and technology in Sri Lanka. It is my privilege to warmly welcome our chief guest, Honorable Minister, the Professor Krishanta Besena, Minister for Science and Technology, who was always with us and support and promote the national science agenda. And I also want to thank the senior Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya, the senior advisor to the President on Science and Technology. He is a very supporting figure, and we've been working very closely together to build the culture of science and innovation culture in Sri Lanka. And I also want to thank the special guest and the Secretary to the Ministry of Science, Mr. Mohammed Nawawi. He also really is supporting, playing a supporting role and coordinating everybody, and also making a policy connections together. I think we got the excellent combination if we want to make science into really into good shape in this country. I see this as an opportunity for all of us. And of course, I want to thank the Director General, and she was instrumental. I was overseas, I just got back, and this whole event putting together. And thank you very much, Dr. Sepalika. You have done wonderfully putting this event together. Even I was away from the country. And all my NSF team equally is supported, and we have a wonderful team. And again, I want to thank all the award winners and to coming all the way for this event, and I hope you all enjoy this event, and hopefully want to build this event as one of the unique event in the country to in fact expand. I think this is a very essential to develop research culture in this country. I'm not going to go into the lot of detail. I was very recently, we published a booklet that with the Department of the Census and Statistics, and what we discovered, the information. I think a lot of things we know, but we see some trends. And I thought, me being here, I'm also, most of my career spent outside. I work in 3 different continents, the US, Japan, Australia, and I came here, Sri Lanka, and nearly 5 years in Sri Lanka. I see slightly different in some areas. Some fine resolutions we can bring into to bring this culture, like those things, those points I thought is sharing with you, and the secretary here, the minister here, and the senior advisor to president here, and all young people here, and all researchers here. I thought I make it to a good forum to discuss this thing. This is the book we publish, and I think it is in our website. I think everybody must read this book. This is very important. There's a lot of good statistics to learn about the R&D, culture, economy, contribution, and how society connected, how institutional, the contributions, etc. But overall, this is the fascinating figure, the whole stats is this is again 2022, and I was not able to get actually 2024 stats. It is really 1.1% of GDP goes for R&D of the country. And this we understand we had a lot of issues, a lot of problems during the last couple of years, and but we all, the new government, and we all believe that number gradually need to increase if you want to develop the R&D culture in this country. And the other most interesting thing is if you look at from all the million people, if we take, is only we have scientists, around 106 scientists. This is a remarkably low. And this is where I think this forum come into play. This is we really want to emphasize in the future and how to tackle this issue. And equally, in our scientists, the biggest problem is a commitment for science and research is nearly 30% or less than that. But I work at the university, and the university, I never get a good slot of time to focus and concentrate on the research. And the industry, we don't have many institutions, but again, this is one of the big factor because we have lot of other involvement, commitment is less. So we need to find the mechanism. We need to develop a strategy to get this time allocation for science a little bit more. When I was in a Western world, like I was in a University of Melbourne, and I never had more than 50% for the teaching because I had the more than at least the 50% for the research and that run my own research team. And again, these are as a consequence we have in the place where the global innovation index, we are in the close to bottom. So we have to accept this fact because these things need to be corrected. And when we look at the sector-wise, the investment in R&D is like the business and enterprises sector. It has the largest, and the higher education is the next one. And the government research institute around the 27%, and it's a negligible around the private non-governmental organization. So it's a good news from here is that the business sector, is a private sector, has a kind of a commitment for R&D because this is a big shift. We have not seen, if we go back a long time back, that was it's a good indicator. And again, the government research institution, there is somewhere around 20%. But so this ratio looks all right. But again, the amount need to come in the future. Again, when we see as amounts, the government sector, we put around 7 billion rupees in the research, and the business private sector is coming around 10 billion, and also foreign fund come around 5 billion. This is all Sri Lankan rupees. And these are the way the funds come into the R&D in Sri Lanka is, if you see totally around close to 24 billion rupees come into the R&D. And what from all I learned is that the money we invest the 50% plus for the applied research, and also the 30% around we invest for the experimental development, the projects, and the 14% goes to the basic research, and that means the fundamental research. So this is again something I spark any country to progress the make into the major scientific discovery. I think there is a reasonably little bit more in the basic research. This is something I would like to highlight. This is all coming from these statistics. And especially like I know the National Institute of Fundamental Studies, we have one great institute in the country, and we really need to look at to how we can build the similar capacities in the country and to get the little bit of fundamental research up as well, even in the university and even through the grant system, etc. Maybe it's a high time to look at. This is looking at the data. And human resources wise, we have the total researchers, the head count around 6,200, and in the research sector, and the full-time researchers among them 2,151. Just if you now round the numbers around 2,000. And so, for example, as said, is per million we have full-time researchers around 96, close to 100. So this is again is in the a lower level. And patent-wise, we have, in a 2000, this is a 2022, we have registered patent 190 and the 110 non-resident patents. And also journal publications, we have around the 1,500 close to, and the 71% of the published work has a foreign collaboration. This collaboration is good, but this looks like a lot driven by the foreign collaboration. So therefore, I think it's a very much high time to focus and develop our own more research in the country, through which I'm telling that it's a very important, but a publication and patent and those things are very important to develop the culture of science in the country, and these numbers need to go up. These numbers, we need to have our own origins as well here. So patents as well as our own publication and going to high-end journals. So again, when you put into the global innovation index, I think this all we have seen. The Sri Lanka, as said, sitting in Southeast Asia, is even in a very low place, and even below the India. And what we need to do, we need to strategically address this issue. And as I said, the R&D personnel also low in Sri Lanka. And what I quickly go through is that the key challenges we have in Sri Lanka is one is a funding thing, and we are with the new government, we have seen the increase and we are addressing it. We can't make double in overnight, but again, we understand that one. We're working through, even NSF as us, we got the funding is double now. This is compared to last year. This is something I want to really appreciate, and it's happening. And limited human resources. I come to the point that we can bring money, we can develop institute, but we also need to develop a human capital. Human capital is the critical factor now, because there is a lot of brain drain, a lot of people going out, and in the same rate we have not developed a strategy to train the graduate students in the country, because we don't have that facilities as well. And again, when it comes to the time allocation for the research, that also need to seriously consider, and it means that we need to more staff, because I know how the university staff struggling with their teaching load, and there is a limited time for the research. And the only way to do is increase the number of the staff for the university. But I think this is the case for the whole the university. This not only I'm sharing with the Ministry of Science and Technology. This is actually national issue. That's the education issue as well. So the biggest, as I said, the biggest problem is the human resources limitation. And I feel the limiting factor is one of the top limiting factor will be human resources, and we need to start to address this issue kind of immediately. I think this is the best way, this best forum, and even to recognize this one and give the biggest priority to generate and create the human resources, the country that required. So, I just quickly go through. So what I want to do is, from all the statistics, actually this is the policy framework for research and development of the new government, and we have addressed. This is the objective of this policy framework. We are addressing gradually. Perhaps we need to identify the priorities. Pick up these priorities and address immediately. And maybe we need to look at the priority list. This is where I want to emphasize and highlight that training, human resources is an essential thing. And I always thought it's comparing good example is very important, comparing with other nations, other developed nations. I pick up Australia because I work there and I know the system, R&D system, and same time, the population is similar. Like Sri Lanka, it's 24 million, we have nearly 23 million. And we closely look at how these numbers change in Australia. What we see is the Australian invest 38 billion Australian dollars for the R&D. This is a very significant. And the investment goes for all the departments, but it's a large sum they invest. And if we compare to us, it is 285 times more than us. So, and again, this is there is done, but again we are starting from the very low level, but we need to be accurate. We need to be exactly in the right place when it comes to the funding allocation models. So this is where we really need to maybe more focus very quickly when we work together. So when it comes to the NSF, I've been with the NSF last 6 months, a little bit more than that. But what we see, what I have seen other side of the world as well, NSF has done whatever the possible since 1968, even just immediately after I was born. This was running since then and done a lot of work within whatever the resources are available. I really appreciate, when I come and look at everything, what I think about, everything is there. So everything they have done, but again, they could not, the science was not in the top agenda in the country and they were not able to capitalize those things. So again, NSF also have this all arms to address the new government framework, and all this thing is there. So for example, if one arm it's very simple, it's strengthening individual capabilities. This is where I think I come very much sensitive and is a priority, because we have to, without strengthening the postgraduates and the skills and all these things, is a bit of challenging. And also, we do a lot of investment in R&D, and we have a number of grant programs. I think the highest grant program in the country. And also, we have national programs, putting all these things together. So these are being a small institute with a less than 1 billion Sri Lankan rupees budget, I think is doing reasonably well. And there are a lot of difficulties as well, but it's a good system. The new proposed system is nicely mixed and synchronized. So that's what I want to highlight. And so we have the facilities and resources. We have a grant scheme. I just want to share with the competitive research grant scheme. This is a kind of a discovery grants, like you see in the Western world. And the collaborative programs and partnership programs and the client, with all supported by NSF. They may not be $1 million. This is a small amount, but at least we have that resources established in the country. And especially coming to the capacity building, the scholarship programs we have, I think a lot of us who receive the awards today are also from the NSF scholarship. And the equipment grant, this is one of the popular program, actually, even today, talk about this thing, we need to continue this program, and this is a lot of researchers get supported, because otherwise there is no mechanism to repair the instruments, etc. And entrepreneurship development, that's multiple program is happening, that's happening with other institutions as well, and we recognize. This is something I see missing in this country. People, the very few program of recognizing the people who made the significant contribution. And today I see a lot of the supervisors, I see the students. We need to tell the country that loudly, these people have done. We have nearly 4,000 plus academic staff in the university and the researchers in the university. But we want to see at least 2,000 graduates every year turning around, which is not happening. So therefore, I think this is I know there is a lot of difficulties, and despite all difficulties, you have supervised the students, and there are a lot of students who retain in the country, there are a lot of students who would have get out from the country and vanish from this land. But this to the parties is very important, essential if you want to build this country. I think we need to expand this, the whole thing. I think we need to work with the Department of Education, higher education as well. This is maybe, so we all know we can discuss that. And I will quickly go because there's time running out. NSF develop a number of platforms, e-platforms, the database, research management systems, and the grant, the management systems, and the e-repository, and so the many things, and journal, SL Joel. We host 150 plus journals in the country. Even I realized, very recently. So, including NSF Journal of Social Science and NSF Journal of Science. This is a very two journals, NSF done, in that way. I have to say, it's done its job. And so this is a very big thing. 150 journals, free. Who can publish a journal article in an impact factor journal without a fee paying? Is very rare. So we have two journals with the impact factor, and is operating here without a single cent. But there are issues that we are working on those issues to address. At the same time, we support the grants. This is only like the last 5 years, and we have supported a given number of grants and publications. The whole country is a science depend on the publication and patents. So through these grants, we have also supported the publishing. And the publishing means publishing in SCI journals and even local journals, and it creates impact. The citation all come to Sri Lanka. And our science, we cannot hide away from other part of the world. We have to go with them, for which we have done, NSF has done, and the country has done reasonably okay, but it is not good enough. And this is a kind of the publications generated from the NSF funding, and also this is the patent last 5 years generated. And good thing I look at, I want to really fine-tune these processes. And the whole board, NSF, we have a very academic board of NSF. That's I really appreciate, I really enjoy working with them. So everything we are working to fine-tune the processes to develop research and academic culture in the country. And we don't have a lot of issues. Just need to do a little bit of fine-tuning. This is all happening right now. And we have come to, because we are a research institute, funding institute, a lot of people don't see us outside. But it's all happening and all progressing and working into the good direction. And again, I'll come to the NSF, the award and winning. And Susted Award is the one of the famous one. And so this is the kind of a Susted Award in 2020. So it's a 58 supervisory team was there, and the 129 the supervisors, and the 32 PhDs, and the 26 MPhils been awarded just 1 year. I couldn't get the number in this time. And if we put into the dollar value, if I have all the right to talk this issue, because I have supervised over 50 graduate students outside the country. And also, I know how hard to get one student supervised and how costly. If I want to get a student to Australia to my team, I have to show 300,000 Australian dollars in my research money. So here, if we send them, one thing is a cost. The 300,000 into the 32 is a big money. And equally, these fellows, like a lot of people I brought to Australia, they didn't come back. I say 190% didn't come back. So this way we can keep them here as well, because but we need to give them a right leadership, right direction. Right, we need to develop that culture that they required, and put together, like I always compare with this Australian and Sri Lankan system. The Australian R&D invest 1.74% of the GDP, but as I said, now it's 2021 is a 1.3 GDP, and from all what we see is like a number of researchers per million people is much higher in Australia. This is the number. I think we may not be able to 4,000, but we need to work around some strategies to develop this thing. And I always talk about the quality. Without quality, you cannot. It's a number of not a publication. We also need to see because the H index, the number of patents, and the citation. Those three are the measurable indexes. Now, if you say something somebody have done, if you want to apply for a job or if you want to do anything, this need to have. And especially I want to encourage young graduate students like here. So these numbers are very important. You need to build these numbers. You have to have a good citations. You have to have a good H index. You need to have equally patents, and equally you need to go to the public. These are the things. Even the university staff. These things are very important. Everybody need to work on. Supervisors need to train them to learn those skills and get those numbers, statistic right. If the personal statistics become institutional statistics becoming a national statistics. So therefore, those things are very important. This is a take-home message. And I always, there is no other indexes to look at. This is being as a scientist, like as a primary index. So right now is a H index, the number of patents and etc. When I again put Australia and Sri Lanka together, the Sri Lanka, you can see the right side panel is again I put into same scale, and scale you see the range 1 to 10 to 1 to 10 and like in a 10 interval, and you can see, and you come to the higher H index ratios is becoming is a low. It's natural. Even in Australia is a decline, but in Sri Lanka these numbers is very pure. So we need to develop this area. This is especially people in a culture of that research. The leadership is coming from there, and if you develop, then this is very important for in the future leaders. When you pick up a future leaders, they should have this trait. This through which it will give a third dimension to look at the problem, look at the scientific problem. So therefore, I think this is a culture if you want to develop a research culture, we also all together, the supervisors here, we need to address those things. Those are the fundamental to cultivate the science and R&D in the culture. And quickly, I finish, and where we want to push through all this thing. We want to to contribute the science and research for development of this country, the R&D agenda, and also to develop high-tech export. And this is the primary objective. To achieve this objective, your presence, your leadership, your track record is essential. We want to develop a system. In fact, we want to develop a better system to recognize people who support the graduate student, and also the graduate student who want to get on board and do PhDs in this country and do higher degree in this country, and through which I think it is a catalytic component of our process of R&D. R&D in the future should be in Sri Lanka. I will stop here. Thank you very much. I want to give this message. Thought this will be very helpful for the university and all the graduate students. And again, congratulations for all the award winners and supervisors, and also the citation, the best citation award winners, etc. This is the first time we identified that category as well. Okay. Again, thank you very much for coming here.